Hey, it's Lloyd, and today we are making medieval bacon. And it's a pretty easy recipe. There's only two ingredients: pork belly and salt. So you want to take your pork belly, which in Canada is about $7 a pound. Depending on where you get it, I guess you probably get it cheaper if you live out in the country and you're in the know and you know the big farmer. But typical butcher price for it's about $7 a pound. And you might be thinking, well, why would you make medieval bacon when you can get modern bacon at substantially less than $7 a pound? Well, modern bacon is brined, and it is simply meat that's lying about being bacon. It's not actually bacon. But I guess that's up for debate because the old Anglo-Saxon word for bacon basically just means pig, and the old medieval German word and French word for bacon also referred to the pig, but referred to the back of the pig, and this is the belly of the pig. And so it's all kind of confusing. So, and as much as I like modern bacon, it's brined as opposed to salted like we're doing here. We're just rubbing salt onto the pork belly. And well, of course, when they go to sell it to you, they package it up in a plastic package, and well, you're buying water, and when you cook it, your pound of bacon quickly turns into a couple ounces of bacon at best. So if you were a medieval housewife, you'd probably be doing this every fall. It's pretty simple to do. You just rub the salt into the pork belly. In a couple days you got bacon. So what we're going to do, it's September, it's cold enough in my house now that I could just hang this up like a medieval housewife. What we're going to do is we're going to stick it in the refrigerator for 2 days, because it is September and it still might be warm in the day. And I don't want any flies getting on it. I guess that was less of an issue if you're a medieval housewife. You might be doing this in November instead of September as well. Everything is seasonal in the medieval world. We don't tend to worry about that so much anymore. But yeah, after she had it salted, she would just punch a hole in the corner with her knife and run a stick through, or run a piece of cord through if she had it, and hang it up over her hearth and let it dry out. And the curing process, that doesn't take that long. You can age it, but yeah, we'll see what happens here. We'll come back to it in a couple of days. But yeah, after about 7 to 10 days, you're going to have something that is salted and cured, and it's going to be stable at room temperature for a good long while. If you're to take it camping or to a medieval event, you definitely get a week out of it. So there, we've got a bunch of salted pork belly that we're trying to turn into bacon, and we're going to put that away for 2 days. We're going to let the water, let the salt do its work and pull the water out of the bacon, start to dehydrate it a little bit. I'm going to put it in a pan and put it in the fridge. Maybe sometime this winter I'll do another batch and I'll just hang it up here and put a pan underneath of it. My house is it's reasonably chilly in the winter. I don't heat it too much. But yeah, we're going to stick this in the fridge and we'll come back to it in a couple days and see what we got. So here we are, about 48 hours after starting the bacon making process. And as you can see, it's a lot firmer. Quite a bit of the moisture has been pulled out of this. I drained this yesterday, and about half a cup of water and bacon juice came off of it. And now there will be diminishing amounts of water coming off of this for the next week. Looks like I've got more bacon than I thought here. Yeah. Lucky I got a second bowl. But yeah, here's a fairly thin piece, and normally this would be quite flexible. It's hardened up quite a bit where it's dried out. And so I've got less than an ounce of liquid that has come off of this in the last 24 hours. So with this much bacon, yeah, about a half a cup plus an ounce. And we'll continue to let it dehydrate over the next 7 days. So here we are a week later with our plate of bacon, and the salt has dehydrated it quite a bit. Normally if you were to hold a piece of meat like this, it would kind of droop over, and this is pretty solid, and it's lost a lot of moisture. So the next step in the bacon making process is we're going to get our butcher string here. And if you were a medieval housewife, you'd probably have to make this. You wouldn't buy it like I did. And maybe if you didn't have the stuff to make it, you'd carve a stick or make an S-hook with a stick to hang it up. But there's all kinds of ways that you can do this. So now we're just going to take my knife and punch a hole in this, and kind of the shape of an X. Doesn't have to be that fancy. We're going to try to run our string through here without cutting it with my knife. Should probably use a stick. Good thing to do this step with would be like a knitting needle that's got a little hook on it. You could fish it through pretty easily. I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting it through there with my knife. Technical difficulties aside, it's more or less bunching up. So we're going to use something different.
A few moments later.
So we're back in action, and basically I'm going to use this fork. It's got a square end on it, and I'm going to run my string over that. And then I'm going to slide my string through my bacon, and look at that. Comes out just like I wanted it to. And then I'll even this up a little bit. And then I'm not going to tie any kind of fancy knot. Just a couple of overhand knots, or whatever you want to call them. And boom. Now I got a piece of bacon ready for hanging and aging or smoking. And I think we're going to do a little bit of both. So if you're a medieval housewife, you probably use a stick, or maybe the back end of a fork if you got one. Or some kind of tool. I'm sure there's 1,000 ways to do this. But this is what you're left with. And so I'm gonna hang this again. I'm gonna hang it in the fridge because it's warmed up a bit. It's 20 degrees in here again, instead of where I like to keep it. It's a bit warm. So yeah, bacon's gonna go back in the fridge until the weekend, and in 3 days, yeah, maybe I'll smoke this. So see you then. So as you can see, cut down a broom handle,
to hang up my bacon in the fridge. I notched it on each end, and it slides right in where the top tray was, and I cut the string double the length of every other piece of bacon, and there's a pan under it. And so it's going to stay in the fridge. Today's Wednesday, it's going to stay there till Saturday. And I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to smoke it. And you could age it in the fridge for, 3 weeks like this, and in the end you'll have medieval bacon. So I guess we'll see what I have on Saturday.
So here we are on bacon making day 11. It is Saturday, and this stuff has been in the fridge for a couple days now. It's been in there for over a week. So the next step is we're going to wash all of this bacon, strings and all, with a beer, and that's going to get any residual salt off of it, and it might add some flavor. Hard to say why they did it, but well, that's what they did. And the beer that we are going to use is a Nova Scotia beer called Boland's, which is mass market, but it's not too bad for a mass market beer. Not too bad at all. It's not one of those over-hopped hipster beers that just tastes like hell. And yeah, so basically all we're going to do is we're going to plunge that bacon into the beer, give it a bit of a scrub, and bang, you're done, ready to be smoked. So now all we got to do is repeat that however many times I have pieces of bacon.
Yeah, this is a bacon smoker hastily constructed out of some sticks and some tarps. Got a stick for hanging stuff on, a little air vent, and we can close up the flaps. And once they're tied shut, no smoke will escape. Bacon is on the smoking rack, and in the bottom of the smoking tent I've got my little Roman stove, and it's burned down to coals. I'm going to throw some charcoal on there and then our smoking material. So now on the little Roman stove I've sacrificed one of my camping pots, and inside of it I've got a mixture of maple and hickory smoking chips. You could just soak them overnight and throw them directly onto your charcoal, but I don't know, I decided to put them in a pot, and should make for a bit of a cleaner smoke. And then up above we got our bacon hanging, and now we're gonna close up the smoking tent and just watch it over the next couple of hours. And now the smoking tent is all closed up, and yeah, there's the bags of commercial smoking chips I got. They're like, $6 or $8 a piece, and pretty convenient. You don't have to manufacture your own chips. So looking in the smoke flap, we got pretty good smoke retention, even though it's not 100% airtight at the top. We've got smoke pretty much right down to the floor. And there's even a little bit coming out here in my air intake. So yeah, seems to be working pretty good. Retaining smoke. I don't know how much you can see. I can't even see my camera, let alone know if it's in focus, but yeah, we'll see what we'll get after a couple hours of this. So here we are on Monday, 2 days after smoking. You can see the medieval bacon has changed color significantly, and there's a bunch of ground moose in the foreground there for making sausage later. But yeah, the bacon's gonna live like this in the fridge for the next few weeks to age it, but by and large it's all done. So maybe we'll cut a piece up and see how it tastes. So it is Monday, and my bacon is pretty firm and bacon-like. and it's not dry at all, like you would expect from salting to make jerky or something like that. But it just appears to be perfect smoked medieval bacon. So, but making fancy bacon is useless if it doesn't taste good. So I'm gonna have to slice off a couple of pieces here, and we'll see what it tastes like. Do the taste test, and then we will decide whether the medieval bacon is any good or not. So I think 3 pieces will be enough. It's a little bit rubbery compared to modern bacon, which is, just this wiggly, floppy stuff. But when you cut it thin, it still has a fair amount of firmness to it. But let's fry this up and see what we come up with. So we're here at the non-medieval stove, and we're going to cook up our bacon. I'm using an older style frying pan instead of my cast iron one. It's kind of a 19th century cowboy chuck wagon style frying pan. It's a little bit thinner than my cast iron one, and it's a little bit closer to the thickness of a medieval frying pan, I suppose. But still, we're making do with what we got. And we got a little bit of bacon fat in the frying pan already, because that's what I used to season it with. And we're just going to cook this up, see what it tastes like. Well, I know it's going to taste good. You don't know because you're not here, but maybe if you try it yourself, you'll find out just how good it is as well. And as always, if you like the videos that I make, feel free to hit the like button. Apparently it helps the YouTube people not bury you down in the search results. And if you like the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button. And there's a bell there that notifies you when I upload stuff. Apparently it works sometimes it doesn't, I don't know. And as always, if you don't like the stuff that I'm doing, share it with your enemies and I will punish them for free. And apparently sharing is one of the most important things that you can do. If you like YouTube stuff, share it and comment on it. It feeds the YouTube computer algorithm thing so that people can find you. So it's just about time to flip over our bacon here. Almost got a little bit too much heat on here for my liking. There's always one piece that doesn't want to flip. So in medieval times, this would have been used in all kinds of recipes. It's doubtful that they ate it for breakfast in strips like we do. I don't really think that came about until the 18th or 19th century. So they'd have added it to other recipes to make them taste good. But today, we're just going to cook up a couple of strips and see what it's like. And it's good fatty bacon. There's quite a bit of fat is being pulled off of it here. It's kind of pooling in the back of the pan. So that generally means good bacon. Salt and fat are 2 of the things that humans crave. So here we are with the taste test. I've already eaten 2 pieces of medieval bacon, and it's pretty darn good stuff. So if you're doing YouTube stuff, always make sure to cook 3 pieces of bacon in case you screw up the shot and you have one left over. But yeah, tastes really good. You can cut it as thick as you like or as thin as you like. It's just amazing flavor. But again, humans tend to love salt and fat, and this has got both those bases covered. My palate's not that refined, so I can definitely smell the the effects of the smoking, but I can't really taste it, or I wouldn't know what that tastes like to begin with. But it's definitely had an effect on the smell. Well, it's amazing tasting bacon. Now, if you wanted to bring this into the modern era, 18th, 19th, 20th century, early 20th century, you could put maple sugar on this, you could put chili flakes on it, you could put, you know, anything you want to get those flavors in there. But if you put sugar or maple syrup or anything like that in your mix, you're going to have to wash that off. Otherwise, when you cook it, it's going to stick to the bottom of your pan, and it's going to be a nightmare to get off. But just with the salt and the smoking, this is amazing stuff. So this winter, if you're bored and you're sick and tired of the lockdown, maybe you can make yourself some medieval bacon. It's well worth the effort. I started it on a Wednesday. I put it in the pan for 2 days. When most of the liquid was off, I hanged it in the fridge. It stayed there for another week, and then I smoked it for about 3 hours, and it's been in my fridge for another 2 days. And again, after that, you could just hang this in the basement or somewhere cool. It's pretty room temperature stable. You could bring it to an event. You know, it's going to last a week or so. I've even got a fly here. For some reason, the fly is staying away from it. So I don't know. Maybe those medieval housewives knew what they were doing. But while I eat this last piece of bacon, hopefully this has inspired you to go out and make your own. Good stuff. Medieval bacon. And as always, have a good day.